One of the more confusing portions of any election ballot, I think for many people at least, is a list of judicial candidates. Most people simply don't know enough to make a safe guess. So oftentimes, they just leave it blank. Well, with Election Day coming up, we're going to get a little guidance from our legal expert, Scott Smith of Smith Law Office. Always good to see you, Scott.
Thanks for having me, Robin. Good to see you.
All right, now we're not going to talk specific candidates, of course, or endorse anybody here. We're going to talk more about the process, about how things work. And for starters, we know that judges are voted on rather than appointed. So let's talk about why that is.
Well, let me back up a minute and I'll answer that question. But two of the most important rights you have as an American citizen, Robin, is number one, sit on a jury, and number two, vote. This is a right that people have that is something that should not be taken away, because there's been debate about why do you vote for a judge versus appointed.
Sure.
Well, you and I should decide who our judges should be. It shouldn't be a power of people, of special interest groups that decide who our judges are, because they make very, very important decisions.
Okay, so in that case, they are voted on. How long does that term last before we may get a say to pick another one?
Well, state judges are voted on, federal judges are appointed. But in state court, you have 6-year terms for the judges from the Supreme Court, Court of Appeals, and the state courts of common pleas.
Okay, gotcha. So it is our duty, obviously, to research their backgrounds. As we do with anything, we're going to, obviously vote for a president this election. It's a big one. So what do you recommend as far as, what do we look for? What kind of research do we need to be doing?
Well, that's an excellent question, because people don't know. Usually my clients, former clients, my friends all ask me at election time, Scott, who do I vote for? I don't know any of these people.
Right, they want you to give
And
them
I
an
give
answer.
them my opinion of who they should vote for, because I look for a judge who is fair, who is balanced, even-tempered, isn't swayed by a special interest group one way or another, because that's all we want is a level playing field. How do you do that? There's a few ways to do it.
Okay, so let us know. How do we do it?
One thing you might want to do is talk to somebody who's in front of these courts every day. I know all the judges in the state court level in Franklin County. Ask me, ask people like me, prosecutors, criminal defense attorneys, civil lawyers who are in front of the judges. They know how they rule, they know how they are. We know best.
Okay, and the other thing is, because you want to go and look at their records a lot of times, right, and see how they're judging, what kind of, how they stand on certain types of cases. So where do you go to get that information? How do you look at that and say, okay, maybe this is the person that I want to vote for?
Well, that's hard, because they don't give enough information for you to find it easily. You can go online, you do a Freedom of Information search, you can do a public record search. People are going to go, I don't want to do that. Well, you can go to the Bar Association. Columbus Bar Association puts up a poll. One is, what are the people, the lawyers that are in front of these judges, think of these judges?
Okay.
And then you can see what the Bar Association recommends as the judge they think is either highly recommended, acceptable, or not recommended. And you compare the two, and you can decide a little bit from that.
Okay, so they give you just a hint of advice, almost just something that, might get you thinking in order to, I guess, have somewhere to start.
Yeah.
Because I think that's where people struggle the most, is where do I even start with these judges?
Absolutely. Ohio Association of Justice has a poll. Columbus Bar Association has a poll. State bar associations have polls. Go online, look that up.
Okay.
They'll give you an idea to start. But the best way is to talk to somebody who's in front of them every day.
Okay, any other advice that you have, Scott, since you are in front of these people every day as we head towards Election Day?
Yes, vote. Get out there, find out, and
That's
vote.
it.
Vote is the most important. Don't let them take your right away to vote.
My favorite kind of quote about being able to vote is that you can't complain if you don't vote, right? And we all love to
That's a
complain.
good idea.
There it is.
If you don't vote, you don't count.
All right, Scott Smith Law Office, all the good information on your screen to get in contact with you. Thanks, Scott.
Thank you, Robin.